The power of faith. When he came to meet the people, a man approached him, fell to his knees at his feet and said to him, "Lord, have mercy on my son, who is insane and suffers much because he often falls into the fire and often into the water. I presented him to your disciples, but they could not heal him." Jesus answered, saying, "O disbelieving and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long must I endure you? Bring the child to me." And when Jesus threatened the demon, it came out of the child, who was healed the same instant. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private and said to him, "Why could we not expel the demon?" Jesus answered, "Because of your disbelief. For verily I say to you, if you had faith as a mustard seed, you would say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it would move, and nothing would be impossible for you." Matt 17:14-20.
In its proper acceptation, it is certain that faith in our own abilities renders us capable of accomplishing physical things that we would not be able to do if we doubted ourselves. However, here it is only in the moral sense that these words should be understood. The mountains that faith moves are difficulties, resistance, and ill will. In other words, all the things found among humans, even when it concerns the best of things. Everyday prejudices, material interests, selfishness, the blindness of fanaticism, and prideful passions are other mountains that bar the way to all who are working for humankind's progress. Robust faith provides the perseverance, the strength, and the resources that enable us to overcome the obstacles in little as well as in big matters. Faith that is faltering provides uncertainty and hesitation, which strengthen those we wish to overcome. This kind of faith does not look for the means to win because it does not believe it can. In another acceptation, faith means the faith one has in accomplishing something, the certainty of achieving a particular purpose. It provides a kind of lucidity that enables one to see in thought the intended goal and the means to reach it, in such a way that the one who possesses it proceeds, in a manner of speaking, with absolute certainty. In either case, faith enables the accomplishment of great things. Sincere and true faith is always poised. It provides the patience that knows how to wait, because having its point of support in the mind and in the understanding of things, it carries the certainty of arriving at its objective. Hesitant faith senses its own weakness. When it is stimulated by interest, it becomes incensed and thinks it can compensate with force. Calmness in the midst of struggle is always a sign of strength and confidence. Force, on the other hand, is proof of weakness and self-doubt. One must guard against confusing faith with presumptuousness. True faith allies itself with humility. Those who have it put their trust in God more than in themselves, because they know that they are simple instruments of God's will and can do nothing without God. That is why good spirits come to their aid. Presumptuousness is pride rather than faith, and pride is always punished sooner or later by the disappointment and failures inflicted upon it. The power of faith receives a direct and special application in magnetic action. Through faith, humans act upon the fluid, the universal agent, modifying its qualities and giving it an impulse that is irresistible, so to speak. Thus, those who combine a normally large fluidic power with an ardent faith can, solely by their will directed toward the good, perform the remarkable phenomena of healing and other phenomena formerly regarded as miracles but which were nothing more than the consequences of a natural law. That is why Jesus told his apostles, "If you could not heal, it was because you did not have faith."
Religious faith. The condition of unshakable faith.
From the religious point of view, faith is the belief in the particular dogmas that comprise the different religions. All religions have their articles of faith. From this aspect, faith may be either rational or blind. Blind faith examines nothing, accepts both the false as well as the true without verification, and clashes at every step with evidence and reason. Taken to the extreme, it produces fanaticism. Whenever faith rests upon error, it collapses sooner or later. Faith that is based on the truth is the only kind assured of the future, because it has nothing to fear from the progress of enlightenment, since whatever is true in obscurity is also true in full light. Every religion claims to be an exclusive possession of the truth. However, to profess blind faith on a point of belief is to confess one's inability to demonstrate that one is right. It is commonly stated that faith cannot be prescribed, from which many people declare that it is not their fault if they do not have faith. Of course, faith cannot be prescribed, and what is even more correct is that faith cannot be imposed. No, it cannot be prescribed, but it can be acquired, and no one will be refused to possess it, even amongst those who are most resistant. We are speaking about fundamental spiritual truths and not this or that particular belief. It is not faith that should seek out these individuals, rather, they should seek out faith, and if they sincerely search for it, they will find it. Hence, you can be certain that those who say, "We would like nothing better than to believe," but we cannot, say it only with their lips and not with their heart, because by saying it, they are plugging their ears. The proofs, meanwhile, multiply around them. Why do they refuse to see them? On the part of some, it is indifference; for others, the fear of being forced to change their habits; for the majority, their pride refuses to acknowledge a higher power because they would have to bow down to it. For some individuals, faith almost seems to be innate; a spark is enough to develop it. Such ease in assimilating spiritual truths is an obvious sign of previous progress. For others, on the other hand, spiritual truths are difficult to absorb, a no less evident sign of an unevolved nature. The former have already believed and understood; upon being reborn, they bring with them the intuition of what they already know. They have accomplished their education. The latter must learn everything. They are yet to accomplish their education, and they will do so, if not in this lifetime, then in another. We must agree that the resistance of disbelievers often has less to do with them per se than the way in which things are presented to them. Faith requires a foundation, and such foundation is the perfect understanding of that which is to be believed. In order to believe, it is not enough simply to see; it is essential above all to understand. Blind faith is no longer appropriate for this century, and it is precisely the dogma of blind faith that produces the greatest number of disbelievers nowadays, because it wishes to impose itself and requires the abdication of two of the most precious prerogatives of human beings, reason and free will. It is mainly against this type of faith that disbelievers rebel, and about which it is true to say that faith cannot be prescribed. By not accepting proof, it leaves a void in the spirit that gives room to doubt. Rational faith, that which is based on facts and logic, leaves no darkness in its wake. One believes because one is sure, and no one can be sure unless they have understood. That is why rational faith does not collapse, for unshakable faith is the kind that can stand face to face with reason in all human epochs. Spiritism leads to such a result, and it also triumphs over disbelief as long as it does not encounter systematic and self-serving opposition.
Parable of the withered fig tree. When they left Bethany, he was hungry. And seeing a fig tree some way off, he went to see if he could find something on it. And having come to it, he only found leaves, because it was not the season for figs. Then Jesus said to the fig tree, "May no one eat any more fruit from you," which his disciples heard. On the following day, as they passed by the fig tree, they saw that it had become withered down to its roots. And remembering Jesus' words, Peter said to him, "Master, Look how the fig tree that you cursed has become withered. Jesus answered him, saying, Have faith in God. Verily I say to you that whoever says to that mountain, Be uprooted and cast yourself into the sea, without any doubt in his heart but firmly believing that what he has said will happen, will see it actually happen. Mark 11 verses 12 to 14, 20 to 23.
The withered fig tree symbolizes persons who have only the appearances of goodness, but who in reality produce nothing that is worthwhile, orators who are more flashy than substantial, whose words have the gloss of varnish, they please the ears, but upon close examination, nothing substantial for the soul is found in them. After hearing them, one asks what benefit was derived from listening to them. It is also the symbol of all persons who have the means to be useful but are not, all the utopias, all the empty theories and all the doctrines that lack a solid foundation. What is most often lacking is true faith, productive faith, the faith that stirs the fibers of the soul, in other words, the faith that moves mountains. They are trees that have leaves but no fruit. That is why Jesus condemns them to barrenness, for a day will come in which they will become withered down to their roots, which means that all the theories, all the doctrines that have not produced any good for humankind will fall into nothingness, that all deliberately useless people, for lack of having put into practice the resources they had in them, will be treated like the withered fig tree. Mediums are the interpreters of spirits, supplying the physical organs that they lack to transmit their teachings to us. That is the reason mediums have been endowed with faculties to this effect. In these times of social renewal, they have a particular mission. They are the trees that must provide spiritual nourishment to their brothers and sisters. They are multiplying in number in order for this nourishment to be abundant. They are found everywhere, in all countries, among all social classes, among the rich and the poor, the great and the small, so that none are disinherited, and to prove to humankind that all are called. However, if they divert from its providential purpose the priceless faculty that was conceded to them, if they make it serve futile or harmful matters, if they put it in the service of worldly interests, if instead of healthy fruit they bear unhealthy fruit, if they refuse to render it useful to others, if they derive from it no benefit for improving themselves, they are like the barren fig tree. God will take away a gift that has become useless in their hands, the seed they have not been able to bring to fruition, and God will let them become the prey of bad spirits.
The Spirit's teachings. Faith, the mother of hope and charity.
In order to be profitable, faith must be active. It must not grow numb. Mother of all the virtues that lead to God, it must watch carefully over the development of the children it generates. Hope and charity are a consequence of faith. These three virtues form an inseparable trinity. Is it not faith that provides the hope of seeing the Lord's promises fulfilled? Because, if you do not have faith, what do you hope for? Is it not faith that provides love? Because, if you do not have faith, what appreciation will you have, and consequently, what love? Faith, divine inspiration from God, awakens all the noble instincts that lead humans toward the good. It is the foundation of regeneration. Thus, this foundation must be strong and durable, for if the least doubt shakes it, what will become of the edifice that is built upon it? Therefore, construct the building upon unshakable foundations. Let your faith be stronger than the sophisms and ridicule of disbelievers, for faith that cannot stand up to human ridicule is not true faith. Sincere faith is alluring and contagious. It communicates itself to those who did not have it, or even would not desire to have it. It finds persuasive words that go to the soul, whereas apparent faith uses only sonorous words that leave their listeners cold and indifferent. Preach through the example of your faith, in order to give it to others. Preach through the example of your deeds in order to enable others to see the merit of faith. Preach through your unshakable hope in order to enable others to see the trust that strengthens and encourages you to battle all the vicissitudes of life. Therefore, have faith in all that it contains of beauty and goodness, in its purity and in its reasoning. Do not accept faith that cannot be substantiated, the blind daughter of blindness. Love God but know why you do. Believe in His promises but know why you believe in them. Follow our counsels but be aware of the objective we show you and the means we provide for you to reach it. Believe and hope without losing heart. Miracles are the deeds of faith.
Joseph, a Protector Spirit, Bordeaux, 1862.
Divine faith and human faith. Faith is the innate sentiment in human beings of their future destiny. It is the awareness they have of the immense faculties whose seed was deposited in them, first in a latent state and which they now must make blossom and grow by their active will. Until now, faith has not been understood except from the religious aspect, because Christ extolled it as a powerful lever and because He has been seen only as the head of a religion. But Christ, who performed material miracles, has demonstrated through these same miracles what humans can do when they have faith, that is, the will to want and the certainty that such will can receive fulfillment. By following His example, did not the apostles also perform miracles? Well, what were those miracles except natural effects whose cause was unknown to people back then, but which today have been largely explained and which will be fully understood by studying Spiritism and magnetism? Faith is either human or divine, depending on whether people apply their faculties to their earthly needs or to their heavenly and future aspirations. Individuals of genius, who pursue the accomplishment of some great enterprise, triumph if they have faith, because they feel within them that they can and must reach it, and this certainty provides them with immense power. Good persons, who believe in their heavenly future and who want to fill their lives with noble and beautiful actions in the certainty of the happiness that awaits them, draw from their faith the strength they need, thereby accomplishing the miracles of charity, devotion, and selflessness. Finally, with faith there are no bad tendencies that cannot be overcome. Magnetism is one of the greatest proofs of faith put into action. It is through faith that magnetism heals and produces the remarkable phenomena that used to be regarded as miracles. I will repeat, faith is human and divine. If all incarnates were fully persuaded of the power they have within them, and if they wanted to put their will in the service of that power, they would be capable of accomplishing what until today have been called prodigies, and which are actually nothing more than a development of human faculties.
A Protector Spirit, Paris, 1863.